You want to know one of the most common questions that I get asked on YouTube, more so than what bike should I buy next or when is it time for me to upgrade? It is, Spite, you're a tall human being. What is the best bike for a tall rider? Well, it just so happens there are motorcycles basically designed from the ground up for us vertically advantaged humans. One of the biggest things that I notice, I've ridden a lot of beginner bikes, so many beginner bikes. Basically, none of them are truly comfortable for somebody like me. They're just not built for a big person. You start getting more comfortable when you get on bikes like an MT-09, an MT-07 to a slightly lesser extent. The middleweight naked bikes, they start to get more comfortable because they're physically bigger motorcycles, but those are not good bikes to start on. This DRZ right here has 38 horsepower and about 28 foot-pounds of torque, which is the perfect amount of power to start on. And it weighs under 350 pounds, I think. I'll have the exact number on screen. It's a very lightweight motorcycle, so it's able to capitalize on its power better than a lot of the other beginner bikes out there. Now, I am 6'2" without shoes on. I'm about 6'3". I'm 250-ish pounds with my gear on, so I'm a big human being. This thing may not look particularly large. It's motorcycle, right? It doesn't seem like it's physically massive, specifically like an adventure bike. But when I stand on this thing, you're going to notice that without any weight on the seat, I have no bend in my knees. Then I sit on it, and I've got a very soft bend. This is basically the most roomy motorcycle you're going to get on, period, full stop, end of story. And to be clear, it doesn't have to be a DRZ. I just chose the DRZ because I really like it. And obviously when it comes to the Supermoto, the king is basically the DRZ. Nobody does it better than Suzuki's DRZ. It is the most widely accepted Supermoto out there. It's got great aftermarket support. It's been so well documented and covered that any question that you have on a DRZ can be solved by YouTube University, which is perfect. That's perfect for the beginner rider. The struggle, though, with an older DRZ is making sure you're going to get one that isn't just an absolute beat-up piece of shit, because there's a lot of those DRZs out there. In fact, most of the DRZs out there are beat-up pieces of junk, because they actually get bought by more veteran riders. People have been riding for a longer time, and they want something to just do hood rat things with their friends on the street. It is so good at just playing around. You know, you can absolutely get after it on a bike like this. Whether you want to do, street Rossi style or foot down style, you can absolutely have so much fun. These things do wheelies, they do burnouts, they do endos, they do all of it. Big giant skiddies too, because especially this one, you can disable the rear wheel ABS. But because they're so much fun, they get bought by veteran riders because they're just low stakes, goofy, cheap fun that they don't really have to care about all that much. Because DRZs, you could basically just push one off a cliff, and when it lands, it's a lot like a KLR. You can just ride it away. Now, I do need to take a second and point out the fact that this DRZ 4SM right here, this 2025 motorcycle with how many miles on the clock? 30 miles on the clock right now. This thing, I am giving it away. This is not my motorcycle. I am not keeping this. This is going to one of you out there watching this video right now. All you got to do is click the link down in the description below to get yourself entered to win. And the reason I have this motorcycle is thanks to the fine folks at Fan of Them. They're the ones helping me get these bikes to give away to you guys. So you're going to be supporting the channel by clicking that link down in the description below. You're directly allowing me to pick up motorcycles like this to make content with. So yeah, this one is thanks to you guys. What actually brought me to the DRZ in the first place was the idea of having a motorcycle that I could do two things with, right? I wanted a street bike that's just really comfortable and fun, but I also wanted a bike that I could take off-road. And because the Supermoto is descended from dirt bikes, it's not a dirt bike, it is descended from dirt bikes. Because of that, they are actually really capable off-road. Despite the fact that this has on-road suspension, on-road rotors, on-road tires, you can still take it off in the dirt and, you know, play around with it. And it really can't tell the difference between the street and the dirt, honestly. That's the beauty of these things. They just... The laws of mortal human beings do not apply to the Supermoto. They just don't. Anywhere you want to go, your DRZ will take you. Except fast. And that's probably the biggest problem that most people have with the Supermoto, because for the longest time, there hasn't really been an option for you to grow into, right? Everybody just looks at the DRZ and they're like, but I want something faster that's comfortable. Well, KTM and their 690, or Ducati and the 698 Mono, or their hypermotards, because all of those bikes are basically Supermotos. There's a little bit of a question mark when it comes to something like the hypermotard and the hyperstrada, but having owned a hyperstrada for a long time and ridden it across the country, along with a couple of other different motorcycles, I can say that the hyperstrada was the most comfortable one to be on for like 10 hours straight. One of the things that makes it so comfy is just where your feet are, right? If you look out of that camera, my feet are right up under my butt and I'm pushed forward on the seat. So a lot of my weight is actually sitting on the balls of my feet and not sitting on the seat, which means that it's really evenly distributed across my lower body, which is really awesome when you're on a bike for a long time, because you're not wearing out your butt. Oh, I should slow down. I did not realize how wet the ground was out here. It is like properly soggy.
I interrupt this rant to bring you a word from today's sponsor, Quadlock. If you haven't heard the good news about Quadlock, I'm about to make your day. That, or you've already skipped ahead, but I wouldn't advise that. You see, Quadlock makes the best phone mount and case combo for your bikes. They make mounts that'll fit every type of bike out there, so if you're tall and need to reposition your phone so you can see it, they've got accessories to help you out. Not only that, but they've got wireless chargers, vibration dampers, mag wallets, and more. Rumor even has it that if you pair a mag ring to the color of your bike, you'll unlock 1 extra horsepower. Or is that just KTM's? I'll check and get back to you. In the meantime, though, click that link down in the description below and check out everything that Quadlock has to offer. And with that, let's get back on the road.
But I know for a fact that there's going to be some people out there that are like, I get it. I hear what you're saying. I totally do. And it's just, the look is not for me. I can't get past the look. Totally hear you. I totally get it. These can be polarizing because a lot of people want a sport bike, and this does not even remotely, even a little bit, look like a sport bike. Maybe if you squint, you can make it look a little bit more like a naked, but this thing is definitely just a dirt bike with street rims. No matter what you do to the bike to make it look different, your neighbor Jim, who doesn't know anything, is just going to be walking up and be like, hey, that's a really sweet looking dirt bike you got there. He's not even going to care that it's got suspension for the street and street tires and all this stuff. He's just going to see the big long beak and the tall suspension and be like, dirt bike. And I don't think anybody out there has said, hey, my dirt bike looks real pretty. So, what are you going to do if you want a little bit more power, a more normal looking motorcycle? Some people are going to hate me for this. You got to look at KTM's. You got to. One of the funny things is when you look at the history of a model like the Super Duke, I actually said all this in my review of the Super Duke, the Duke's lineage goes all the way back to 1993, and the first 620 Duke, it was a Supermoto. It was long travel suspension. It was 17-inch rims. It was a Supermoto. And then throughout the years, they kept they made it all the way up to a 690 Duke. They kept that one a little bit more Supermoto-y, but then when the 990 came out, it still had a lot of Supermoto energy, and specifically for this conversation, it's a big motorcycle. It's a very big bike. KTMs generally are the tall guy bike. But okay, all right, fine. I hear you. All right, you don't want to get yourself a KTM because you're worried about reliability or the cams or whether or not the company's going to be, around tomorrow, even though they just got, a gazillion dollars from Bajaj. I hear you. You could also look at adventure bikes, but a lot of guys don't want an adventure bike, even if they don't want a sport touring version of an ADV bike, something like the Pan Am ST. There's plenty of sport touring iterations of ADV bikes, which are just giant supermotos. Even if you don't like that, what can you do to make your bike more comfortable for you? Here are the 5 things. Nah, I'm just kidding. Here are a few things, though, that I've found that really, really, really help. First and foremost, so many people look past this, lowering pegs for your feet. If you can lower the foot pegs on your motorcycle even a half an inch, you're not going to harm the handling of your bike by all that much. It's really not going to change. But what you're going to do is you're going to open up your knee angle significantly, and that's going to make riding your bike so much more pleasant. Moving up, seats. A lot of times, most sport bikes, they're not going to allow you to actually change your position on the motorcycle relative to the rest of the rider triangle. But what you can do is you can make it so that your butt is more comfortable. Wider seats, ones with better gel inserts, all of that stuff. The last thing I want to talk about, though, is the handlebar. And this is something where I want to focus on it specifically. You want to get a set of risers that don't just necessarily bring the bars back to you. You can, obviously just get bolt-on risers. That's going to bring them up and back, but you don't want to be further back on the seat because you're going to compress the rear suspension and it's going to handle funny. You want to stay in the same spot. If you're going to adjust your handlebars, get yourself a set of like rocks risers, ones where they basically drop in to this position and you can rotate them forward or backwards. That's going to allow you to raise them up, but not bring them back. You don't need them any further back. You just need them higher up. The last thing you should do, this is something no one does. No one does this. Your handlebar isn't just adjustable forward and back like this. It's adjustable side to side. You can physically move your handlebar to the side. And most right-handed riders, their right arm is too tight. It's just natural. And so your arm is essentially, call it a half inch shorter just because of the way that you ride. Obviously the easy answer would just be relax, damn it. Just let that, every now and again shake that elbow out. But you can physically move your handlebars sideways, and that's going to move the throttle closer to you, and it's going to feel just it's going to feel more comfortable. It's going to feel looser. Even now, I could definitely move this handlebar over, I'd say about a half an inch, and I would feel the difference. It would be a lot more comfortable. And you can do any of that stuff to a motorcycle that has foot pegs, a seat, or a handlebar. Or you could click the link down in the description below and get yourself entered to win this motorcycle right here. This big, shiny, white DRZ that's got a little bit of road grime on it, because I've only ever been able to ride it in the rain. It gets put away clean, though. Trust me, I clean it off before I let it sit. A huge shout out to Fan of Them for allowing me to give away cool, brand new bikes like this. I'm going to try to do more of these sort of around $10,000 new bikes, because there's some amazing stuff available for 10 grand nowadays. You can get some sick bikes. You have until the middle of September to get yourself entered to win, so click that link down in the description below, and good luck to you. In the meantime, though, I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.